Hello, and welcome to my top reads of 2022 video. Just to address the elephant in the room, girly, where'd you get that cool hat you're wearing? My best friend made it for me. It's blueberry muffin-esque, and I love it, and I can't take it off, so. Also, the lighting in here is terrible because it's raining outside, but today's my day off of work, so I thought let's make this video because I've been wanting to make this video since the beginning of last year. I've been keeping track of all my reads, and I think I have a decent collection. So, the theme of this year was definitely rereading nostalgic reads to see if they're still 5-star reads. Some of them were, some of them weren't. So without further ado, let's start with the first 5-star read of 2022, which was Hush Hush. This series I read for the first time in like 8th grade or 9th grade, and I immediately loved it. Read again high school, still loved it. Read again college, still loved it. And then I read it again. This was like the 4th or 5th time of me reading it. And the first one, bangin', still a 5-star read. The other 3, I just didn't love. If you've ever read the After series by ACOTAR, that's literally what it was like. And that is not my cup of tea. It used to be my cup of tea, but yeah, not so much anymore. So that was my first 5-star read of the year. Then, for more nostalgia, I read The Summer I Turned Pretty. I know, this is like the OG cover. I thrifted this. This is like, it used to be a library book, and I thrifted this because this is my favorite cover. But I read this because obviously the show came out this year. So good, by the way. First book, loved it. Second and third book, not so much. I just didn't love the second and third book, especially how Jeremiah cheats on her, and then, spoiler alert, but I feel like y'all all have read it by now. I mean, come on now, the show's out. Jeremiah cheats on her, and then to fix that problem, he says, hey, you know what, let's get married. Whoa. Anyhow, first book, bangin', wonderful, just summer vibes. I love it so much. Then, I read Good Girl Complex, the new Avalon Bay series by Elle Kennedy. Elle Kennedy never disappoints, except for, actually she does a little bit with her prep school series that she just came out with. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but we're not dwelling on that in our 5-star reads video. Good Girl Complex was so good. It's like, it's just the perfect summer read. Like, you cannot have a better summer book. It's just a small beach town, college vibes. There's twins involved. There's a tight-knit friend group. It's like good girl, bad guy. Like, you cannot go wrong with that. And also he grovels for her, and I love a groveling man. And I also just read, my last book of 2022 was actually Bad Girl Reputation. So good as well. 4-star reading. It would have been 5-star if the beginning would have been a little bit different. But still, banging book. Cannot wait for the third one. The third one comes out, don't quote me on this, June 23rd, I think, though. And I will be reading that immediately. So, then I would say the best series in the world, and it is not a series unknown to any, but this series changed my world. It changed my world, and I cannot believe I just read it this year because I feel like it has integrated itself into my life in so many ways, and I feel like I've always known about the series. Like, I feel like I read it fresh out of the whim. And I did do a reading wrap up on these, so I won't get like too much into it. And also I feel like everybody in their second cousin's dog have read this series. But I cracked into the ACOTAR series this year. All 5-star reads. All 5-star reads. This one, ow. This one, banger. Such a good, like, it just sets the scene. You, such good world building. Just holding them makes me want to reread them immediately. I recently found, I think it was A Court of Mist and Fury in Rizan's POV. I'm reading that currently because it's only online, obviously it's not printed. I love it so much. First one's great world building. I've honestly never read a better world building book. Like, literally, I would stop. I know I said this in my reading wrap up, but genuinely, like, this book took me away. Like, it literally, like, I would, like, take a break from it. I'd, like, look up and be like, oh my god, like, I'm just in my bedroom. Like, so good. And also, not to be a creepy, weepy, but these books smell so good. Just saying. Also, I did buy the whole series before I bought it, and I literally never ever do that. So, I mean, I just know. But this one's my favorite. No, I feel like this is everybody's favorite. Bangin'. Chunky boy. Love that. This one's Chunky boy. So good. This one is so action-packed, like, literally, I kept being like, oh, just one more chapter. And there were no filler chapters. Like, I feel like this is the only book I've ever read that didn't have any, like, okay, like, this is clearly just, like, a filler chapter to just, like, kind of, like, calm down from all the action. No, literally, like, they were constantly going in this book. Chunky. And then this one, tiny little novella. This is about winter solstice. That's what they celebrate instead of Christmas, but I mean, they still celebrate Christmas, let's be real. But this is just like a cute little novella. It gets so much hate online. Everyone's like, oh, it wasn't a story, I hate it, or whatever. I loved it. It's just a nice little palette cleanser, just a nice little, it's so nice. It's so chill. And also, as a fellow winter solstice girly, my birthday's the 22nd, so day after winter solstice. I really liked it. It was really nice. And especially after this craziness, it was so nice to just read like a nice little like Christmas tale. And then the grand finale, which I am so sad that the paperback's out now because I read this before the paperback was out. And now I have all paperback except for this. And I'm so tempted to buy the paperback of it just so I have a full paperback set. But I will not do that because I have so many other books that I would like to buy. But another girthy girly. So good. So good. I feel like everybody hates Nesta. She is kind of the worst. But I was about to say she's kind of redeemed in this book, but not really. Like, she still is just kind of the worst. And there's only so much you can forgive her for. But nevertheless, 5-star read. Still really good. You see, I don't know how much to say because I feel like everybody has read this series, but really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, like, Also so motivated. The workouts that they do in this book motivated me so much to work out. Oh my gosh. Like I was doing that. She did the 10,000 steps. I never did that much, but I tried. I gave in on stress. But yeah, 5-star reads all around. Wonderful series. It's so hard to find a full 5-star series. I feel like the first one's usually a 5-star, and then usually like the third or fourth is a 5-star. But then there's always those like filler books. Anyhow, don't judge the cover. Sweet Evil series. This is another read in either middle school or high school, but so good. I love them so much. My battery is flashing. I don't think I'll be able to get through this video, but here we go. Sweet Evil series, Fallen Angel vibes. Like the 7 sins, well 14, because they have like the 7 main and then the 7 like not so crazy. Well, still bad, but it's the kids of all the dukes of the sins, and so that's just such a fun concept. I love them. Easy read, but still action packed, even though I feel like they're made for like high schoolers. But I read this series, I think it's like my 3rd time reading it, and they're still all 5 stars, and they're dude, like, oh my god, they're so yellow. I mean, they're like 200-300 pages, like such an easy read. Such a good concept too. I love that concept so much. Then for my only nonfiction 5-star, All About Love by Bell Hooks. This is my favorite book, period. Like, this is my favorite book. This is the book that I tell everybody about because I love it so much. It's also part of a trilogy. There's like 2 other parts to this, and I will be reading the 2 other parts in 2023. It's so good though. It's just like all about love. It's all about different types of love, familial love, pre-bookmark, familial love, relationship love, friendship love, love with yourself. It's just so good and eye-opening. It makes you think about so much and just like, just so much. It really is just such a good book. I read this at the beach. It's not your typical beach read, but I'm so glad I picked this up. I picked it up from the like local bookstore in Ocean City, Maryland, which is our favorite. The Buzzword, check them out. And then this was their top selling book of the year, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It is so good. And then we have, oh my god, the bookmarks keep falling out. Okay. Then we have Twisted Games, the 2nd book in the Twisted series. I haven't read 3rd or 4th, don't come after me. I just know that that's going to be my favorite one because it's Princess and Bodyguard vibes. I love it. It is beautiful. I read it in 2 nights. It is so good. That's it. Like, you just need to read it. The 1st book was good as well. I do have the 3rd and 4th books. I will most likely be reading those within the next few months. Because they're literally staring at me right now. I see them on my TBR shelf. Yeah, so good. Like, so good. And then for the grand finale, last but not least, this is another nostalgia read. I read it for the first time in either high school, like senior year, or the beginning of college, and it was so good, and I was like, I really want to read it again. This is just such a nice book. So this is my like birthday read. I like to reread a 5-star read for my birthday week, just so I like have a nice book to read during my birthday and I don't take any chances. Don't judge the cover again. I only buy books with terrible covers if they are 5-star reads. My Life Next Door, is so good. It's so much more action-packed than the cover would allude to, but it's just so good. It's perfect amount of romance, perfect amount of action. The last 200 pages are absolutely insane. Like, every time it just gets me good. I don't even know if it's 200 pages. It might even be the last, like, 100 pages. It is so crazy. There's such a big plot twist at the end that's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. But yeah, so good. Ended the year on a good one. And yeah, my battery is flashing crazily at me. So, thank you for watching. Love you so much.